I knew about EPC and stuff, but I had no fucking idea that SAP means EPC pretty much.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There we go. Welcome to the Zen Properties Podcast, a podcast about building long-term wealth and cash-flowing businesses through real estate. Dive into interviews with industry legends, content packed with actionable tips and relaxed banter. We are Mac and Maggie Daring. Please enjoy the show. Hi guys, what's up? It's Maggie and Mac from Zen Properties Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in again this week. And this week is extremely special because we have an amazing guest again. This week we have Nate. Nate is a founder and director of Productive Energy, a company helping developers and industry professionals building better, more sustainable buildings. Nate brings in years of experience, gathered working on hundreds of projects, helping optimizing design and planning, ensuring building regulations are met, and officers are absolutely delighted. Personally, Nate is a ChatGPT of sustainability, delight, and fun to work with, bringing in a tremendous value to any table he sits around. Nate, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not bad. And yourselves?
Very good. Maggie, how is it going?
Yeah, feeling great this morning.
Did you have a fabulous day so far?
So far, so good. Beautiful sunshine outside.
What was the best part of your day today?
Morning coffee, I guess.
Morning coffee, I guess.
I agree.
Chat with a husband. Your love of your life. Okay,
Right,
so without
okay.
further ado, Nate, we are absolutely honored to have you here. We have worked together on one project, but we are working on two more projects. So we've done mostly flats conversion, and we will be working on conversion from mixed use to HMO in Swaddling Coat, 9 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 3 kitchens. So that will be a delight. And also we'll 100% use your absolutely amazing services to help us out in our Cotswolds cottage, a big ass holiday let that we are building right now. So definitely we will be working more together. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your company. What is it all after?
Well, we established in 2019. So me and a colleague of mine, we were part of another building compliance company, which is where we started off, I guess, and learned everything we knew. He was there for, I just want to say about 5 or 6 years, and I was there for about 2 years. Things didn't exactly... We just didn't see eye to eye, let's just say that, with our manager. So we decided to sort of go off on our own way and set up a limited liability partnership initially. We did that for about 2 years or so. Ended up getting some half decent traction, so thought we'd make a limited company out of it and see how far we can go with it. Yeah, at the moment we've got quite a loyal sort of band of clients that we work quite closely with.
Hello.
Exactly. Which is what we're quite keen on doing. We want to be able to actually work closely with people and teach people how to build better homes, more energy efficient homes, and get a better EPC rating. Which can be a bit of a challenge in its own right, because some people care, some people don't. So... yeah.
We've been there and done that together, right? So initially we had EPC rate D in one of the flats, but then we've added the air quality survey. And despite the fact that we have electric boilers, we still achieved EPC rate C on all the flats, thanks to your advice.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah. So it's exactly things like that. It's what people just aren't aware of, especially with the change in building regulations and stuff. So I like to be a little bit more hands-on, and yeah, I want people to care, which I guess could be challenge in its own right as well. But yeah. So sort of quality over quantity is where we focus, and we like to hopefully show that in our work as well, because we are better than most other companies out there. I can tell you that.
That's true.
Or at least we have more access to the knowledge that you'll need to know in order to essentially cost effectively build your property as well. But yeah, no, as I said, we've been doing it for about 5-6 years now as a limited company, and we've just been growing every year on year from there. At the moment, we're kind of at that stage where now we're probably looking to expand, getting some more employees together. but obviously that's quite
How
a big.
many do you have currently?
Well, at the moment we have none. That's the point. It's me and my business partner at the moment.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah, so that must be tough, right? You need to start to sort of. Are you at the point when you think about, okay, I can't be like do it all person. I need to outsource
Yeah.
and delegate.
Yeah.
Because I think at some point your business grows to the point you're maximized, right? Is that where you are at the moment? Or?
Yeah. I think it's more about trying to be more efficient as well with our time, because we're realizing there's a lot, without getting too much into it, like, for example, the air testing. I'm a SAP assessor and can do the air testing as well. But obviously to go do an air test, I have to go out of the office and attend a site, which could be 3-4 hours of my day, where it's that balancing act of I could be making more money sitting at the desk than I am doing an air test. So, and obviously the amount of work we have desk-based wise is a lot more, so I get more value being here. So I guess it's just one of those turns all small companies have, of where you then have to let other people on board and get other people involved, which is quite a scary thing to do when it's a company you've looked after for sort of 6 years, and you're hesitant in case anything goes wrong or you make a bad decision. So but no, excited for it, but it's all a bit scary, isn't it?
Is it easy to find a good employee, a good assessor, a good surveyor that would be working for you?
Again, I'd say it's a bit hit and miss, really, because again, you get a lot of people with SAP. It's quite an entry-level role, so you don't really need to have any experience beforehand. So you can get somebody sort of fresh off the boat, so to speak, that can hardly really even look at an architectural drawing, let alone really do a full SAP. But on the other side of it, you could have people who, were maybe even ex-architects or designers that have then just done this on the side, and maybe they want to do that instead, or whatever. Who can have extensive knowledge. It's a bit of a difficult one, really. I've had a mixed bag based on other sort of other colleagues we work with. They've hired people. Yeah.
I guess you need to find. It's like with everything. You need to test and see how it goes, and then train. You have to. I almost sometimes think like it's better to have a blank page, and then you can mold your team the way you want to, right?
Potentially,
I guess.
But then it's cheaper and you build loyalty that way as well.
Right.
Yeah. But arguably, you might have to invest a bit more into them because to get them really going until they're profitable for you.
At least initially, always the case, right?
Yeah. And again, in our past, especially in our industry, it seems a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but some people may, take advantage of that, get the training they need, and then jump ship, which we've seen time and time again at our old company. Which, it doesn't make you feel very good, to be honest. So
retention is extremely difficult and challenging in any company that you are working in. Everyone has troubles with retaining their staff, and we have to work very hard in order to create an environment for them to want to stay in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So let's have a chat and talk about different types of surveys. So would you mind just introducing us to what sort of services and service you guys do?
Yeah.
And why we actually need them?
Yeah. So, my bread and butter is SAP, which is Standard Assessment Procedure. So that is required for all new build dwellings and conversions in the UK. Essentially, all it's really looking at is the fabrics, so what you're actually making the building out of, what's going into your walls, your floors and your roof, and then the systems that are going into it to heat the dwelling in the first place. So, and then essentially spitting out a rating based on how efficient and cost effective it is to use the house. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that basically my whole time I've been in the industry, and it does change quite often, quite frequently, which again is a big issue, especially for developers like yourselves, trying to keep up to speed with what do I need to do now then, what is the next requirement. But we also deal with the commercial side of it, which will be SBEM, which is Simplified Building Energy Model. Again, they've all got weird names. It's essentially the same thing, but it's for a commercial building instead. The methodology is completely different, which is quite a trend in this industry as well, is no two things will ever be the same, and there won't be consistency across anything, which is quite fun. And then on top of that, we have overheating, which is quite a large one at the moment, especially for 2021 regulations, so that'll be Part O. We're getting a lot more inquiries on that because it's becoming more more of a frequent thing that people are failing it because they've been told for years to make really airtight houses, and now they're being told that they're too hot, and now we need more holes and we need better ventilation in them. So as you can imagine, that's spiraling a lot of developers out, because what do they do? But again, that's why you come to us, and we can help you out with that early on. So yeah. A couple of other desk-based things as well, such as water efficiency calculations. Really simple, straightforward, just how much water each person's using a day in the dwelling. We covered overheating. So that's sort of it for sort of desk-based services. We do other things such as energy statements and TM59s, but they're kind of both going into planning requirements and essentially just a more developed either SAP, SBEM, or overheating assessment. They're just like the next stage for it, essentially.
Like you've also done like a vent, air, noise.
Yeah. So then the on-site services, So you've got your air ventilation, air permeability testing or airtightness testing. People call it all sorts of things. Stick a big fag in the door, and we measure how much air is leaking out of your building. Ventilation flow rate testing, quite straightforward really. There's not an awful lot we do with that. It's essentially just testing the flow rate of the fan the developer's installed, and then it'll be a pass or fail, very straightforward. Sound testing, so yeah,
that's a difficult one, isn't it? So design your building around the sound testing, so your neighbors, especially when you have flats, so everyone has peace of mind while living there. So you don't hear someone else taking a crap in the toilet.
That makes me wonder about the regulations, because when I used to live in the older, in the rented house, you could hear everyone. You could hear. So I don't know what has happened there, but clearly developers were allowed to build it's almost like a house from a cartoon. Like a paper house.
Yeah.
So in your particular house, it's a, let's say, new build from 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just the wooden walls and plasterboard and no insulation inside, in a terraced house where you could hear neighbors extremely well.
Right, yeah.
It's no longer possible, is it? So
that was 25 years ago, right? So that makes me wonder in terms of the building regulations.
It's changed.
Yeah. But from the last time I looked into it, yes, it is definitely better now. They do have to insulate them, and there is also, I think, robust detail, which you can build. I think it's essentially a pre-made specification, which if you build to that spec on the party wall, it means you won't need sound testing, because they already know it should pass based on the spec you've put in there. As far as I'm aware, that's probably a really simplified version of it. But I have also heard that even with the new requirements for sound testing now, it's still not as good as people usually want it. A loud speaking voice, sort of how I'm speaking now, if you were right next door, you might be able to hear on sort of a standard new build still. It's not...
Right, so, okay. So are we saying that if we as developers, knowing the requirements and what they are, it's almost like a bit of a nudge for us to stop and think, do we want to add another layer of insulation? Do we want to invest a tiny bit more?
That's what we've done. So we pretty much, for example, with Mosley, we overkilled it big time with our team. So we didn't need to have that quality insulation. We could have a little bit thinner walls as well, but we've decided to insulate everything with the most expensive insulation material on the market. So you can't hear your neighbors even if they talk quite loudly.
Yeah, because we're talking about flats and they're right next to each other.
Yeah. But that's our conscious decision to pay a little bit more to create more comfort for the tenant or future owners.
And I think that's also the difference. I mean, the building regs, they're good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to insult them, but they're not the best by any stretch. So it's the minimum standards you need to achieve, the building regs. So
but it's pretty much the same across the entire country, right? So let's say Mosley is quite expensive as a place, so the return that you have on your investment is higher, so it doesn't hurt you that much if you spend 5,000 more on really spot on insulation. But if you build up north, it's a different story, right? Because the yields and money that you get out of these properties is way lower when compared to the south or posh villages.
Yep. And that would be more so why you see, especially nowadays, it's more the big developers that are making the new builds and the smaller time folks, smaller developers doing your conversions, because it's a lot easier to get a conversion through in terms of cost. I mean, in terms of sound, you're still kind of in the same boat. But for everything else, you can save a lot of costs by just converting a dwelling over building a brand new one, especially with all the new shiny regs they keep releasing as well. So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess going to the basics in terms of why we need them, it's sort of a no-brainer because it's almost like health and safety, and you do need a minimum standard. But the truth in terms of the financial side of and developer side, in terms of why, what would be the consequences if you mess something up?
Good question.
Well, from the SAP perspective, well, you could be lying to a potential buyer. I mean, the way that obviously I see it from a SAP perspective is that you're building potentially a £200,000, £300,000 house, for example, and that's going to be somebody's forever home. So this EPC is kind of a sign of quality. That's what how I see it. Is we've put all of these systems in, we've invested all of this time, we've got a good airtightness, which again proves that some kind of care and quality has gone into the construction. Otherwise, there would be holes everywhere. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the way that's how I see it. However, I've got to admit, I know developers see it a little bit differently. They do see it as a bit of red tape, especially at the moment. Because EPCs also aren't really giving us the data we want. People look at them and they go, oh, it says it's going to be £500 a year. Why am I spending £1,500 a year on my electricity then? It's things, they're not really displaying the information people want to see on them at the moment. Yeah. Same for the developers as well, which...
So how is that linked with the building regulations and paperwork? Do you need to then submit something for, to the authorities to bugger off? Sorry,
yeah, I might have sort of gone a bit too fast. So we do the SAP calculations, and the SAP is what generates the EPC. So yeah, the SAP is where we'll input all of the data we have on the project and model it and everything. But then the EPC will be produced from that data. So the EPC is more of the build and reg side of things of what we need, on top of complying with Part L, which is all about energy, and basically that's SAP and air testing covers Part L.
Okay, so quick question here: what is the incentive for the developer, a landlord, to have higher EPC rating, so like EPC C or higher? What is the incentive? What do I gain or lose by getting higher or lower EPC? What happens if I have EPC rate A or EPC rate F? Am I fucked or am I remunerated for it? What's happening there?
I mean, nowadays, you realistically do want to get a D or a C. Because a lot of people, even most laymen's nowadays, are at least aware of what an EPC is, and when they see it, if it's got an E or an F, then they're definitely going to shun away from it.
So it affects your buyers or renters market?
Yeah, definitely.
If it goes too low.
Yeah, obviously I think at the moment, the minimum requirement to buy or lease is E, an EPC of E. So if you are getting an F, you will need to have upgrades. But there are often quite a lot of council incentives and bits and pieces in order to get those upgrades.
That's a good incentive, isn't it? It's like if you have F, you cannot rent it out or you cannot sell it.
Yeah. And I know there were discussions in the last government about upping that to a C rating. Which really would have changed quite a lot of things, because there's a lot of properties getting E's and D's at the moment, but I think that's been scrapped at the moment, so I think everyone is safe at the moment with their E ratings.
At least for now, right? So what is it now? Is it 2030 for the government to put that back on the table with a possibility for it passing the legislation for all the properties to have to be EPC rate C?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, to be honest. Again, we don't know because the government are a bit rubbish. Again, that's a massive thing in our industry, is that we're working so closely with the government. Yeah, that it's difficult.
The government is focused on looking into where they can save up money, right? In your taxes.
But it's like let's not go on a rant on the government. Sorry. But they are very short-sighted and creating a lot of money from people like you and me, and killing businesses in the process. So long term, it's not going to work.
It's difficult because they want developers to build energy efficient homes, but then also understand they need to be able to sell these homes to people who can afford them. So it's such a difficult balancing act. I will give them that.
There's so many things to cover.
But I think at the moment, they're doing a bit better. I think we're going to focus less on making the regs more strict and more on making things clearer and making sure that things that are produced from the regs people understand, which, fingers crossed, is, I think where we're going to go in the future. But again, who knows with the government? It could change in the next time we talk. So
okay, so why do you think so many conversions fail the first time, the testing? And I mean, if you've got any examples, and how could
Yeah,
we,
give us like a few
and how
biggest
could we
fuck
avoid
ups that
them?
people do.
Anything to,
Well,
to look out for.
yeah, the number one thing that comes to mind is people putting electric rads in everywhere, especially if you've got sort of a standard 3-4 bed house.
So electric rads, different to electric boilers.
I don't actually know what they are.
Electric radiator. So it's
Oh,
not
right,
like
okay.
Yeah.
it's not run by water. It's run by like
yeah.
electric.
I always say
Okay.
rads, and yeah, it's radiators. Yeah, yeah. No, they're basically the same thing because essentially, when you're looking at SAP for electricity, anyway, it basically you put 1 kilowatt of energy in, and you get 1 kilowatt of energy out. So it's 100% conversion rate, which isn't bad, but the cost of electricity is so high that makes it a lot worse. But that's why things like heat pumps perform really well, because with a heat pump, you've got 1 kilowatt of energy, but you're actually getting up to sort of 3-4 kilowatts out
So
worth
it's
of heat.
300-400% of efficiency
Yeah.
in a heat pump.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why heat pumps do quite well in SAP, even though electricity costs are so high. Definitely by far the biggest one is electric rads in places. For an electric rad, you're really looking at small flats, maybe under 50, 60 meters squared footprint. And then again, likely enclosed, so a mid-terraced flat. Otherwise, you're probably going to have issues, or it's going to be a bit of a balancing act like we had.
Shit, okay, so Nate, so electric radiator that is like connected, plugged into the wall, and there is no water in it. It's the same as having wet radiators, normal ones, and a high-quality electric boiler.
Yes, because the electric boiler, again, it's still performing at the same efficiency.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Right, I know. So the electric, we've had one of those in London. Do you remember? Is that what he's talking about? Because it sounds quite. Are you talking about the new version of them?
Well, so in Mosley we have new version combi boiler with built-in tanks. They are super high efficiency when
Because
it
you don't
comes.
come across them very often.
They are way cheaper to run. But in London we have like a heating element where we pay like £1,000 a month for electric energy to heat up 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay, right. That doesn't seem very efficient.
No.
Right.
Yeah, so be careful with electricity, right? Be careful.
Yeah.
Like we've done it right because the houses, they are very efficient and the boilers are very high quality and everything is insulated well. So you have the 1 kilowatt in, 1 kilowatt out, but you retain a lot of that heat inside the house. It's not too bad.
Nice,
It's
yeah.
not too bad, but you can fuck it up.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that's especially with conversions, even new builds, to be honest, where people are getting a bit confused, is that at the moment, putting a gas boiler in will likely give you a better EPC rating than a heat pump.
What do you think about it personally?
What about just gas in general, or?
Yes.
I don't. Well, the only reason I like it is because it's cheaper than electricity. But that's really it. I mean, there's no reason why electricity should be so high at the moment, in my opinion, either.
So the problem is the price for electricity for kilowatt. That's a problem, right?
Yes, yeah, that is the problem, I would say, at the moment that we have in the industry, is that...
What if you start putting like solars on your roof, for example? Does that alleviate the problem? Does it help?
Yes, it definitely can help. Yeah. But again, that's kind of the issue we get with SAP, and yeah, more so in conversions as well, is that especially if people that want to get an EPC of say C, they'll be sat there and they'll say, oh, okay, I'm going to put a heat pump in, and they'll get a D rating with that heat pump in their conversion.
Why?
Because of electricity, essentially, because electricity cost is so high, it basically ruins the efficiency of the heat pump that's already in there. Because SAP's not just looking at
Let me ask like a theoretical question then.
Okay, yeah.
Do you still remember our flat in Mosley, these 3 lovely flats?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, imagine that we have a heat pump there and some solar panels. Mm-hmm. Would we have higher EPC rating? Would we be able to heat into B, for example?
Again, with somewhere like Mosley, maybe with the right amount of PV applied to it as well. It'd be difficult to really say, to be honest, because as I said, yeah, most properties do get a D just standard with a heat pump that I've seen anyway in SAP 10. Whereas if you're using a gas boiler, you'd easily be getting a C. Almost every single time you'll get a C. Because even though the efficiency of the boiler is worse in terms of the heat output, the cost is so much cheaper that it doesn't matter. So yeah, SAP doesn't care. It's like, yeah, it has to work 3-4 times as hard as the heat pump does, but it's so cheap, whatever, just keep doing it.
I thought we were focusing only on efficiency. I'm really confused now.
So there is an efficiency element there with electric appliances and radiators, but the electricity is so expensive that the SAP calculation, as it's done today, it punishes you for putting in electric appliances to heat up your property because it's so fucking expensive.
Exactly that.
That's it.
It's stupid, yeah. It's
So why
stupid.
would even the cost matter, right?
That's a very good question. Why would the cost matter? That's a great question.
Well, because that's what the EPC is looking at. So essentially, that's what an EPC is trying to do. Is trying to
So it's a
take all of
government
this.
requirement.
So EPC doesn't look at the building and appliances running efficiency. It looks at the
balance.
cost of running. So it's better to put way more energy to heat cheap energy like gas to heat up really shit property rather than have a great insulated property with vent and air surveys being the best that you've seen in your life with electric boiler, and then still the gas will win with the electric one.
Well, no, see, that's what the EPC is doing. The EPC is basically combining both of them together and then giving you a rating based on it. So that's why, yeah, again, you can have a heat pump that's super efficient in terms of the heat output, but again, the cost drags the EPC rating down.
Yeah, it's almost like contradictory, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm sure it's going to change.
I've just come to this realization.
It must change, right? It must change.
Are we talking about the lack of government incentive here? Because really, if they've changed how the EPC is calculated and incentivize a little bit of using that more modern energy sources and lower the prices, everyone would go for electric, right?
100%.
Yes, yeah, they would, yeah. And that is, as far as we're aware, going to be the plan in the next sort of 10, 15 years.
And instead, we're buying off gas from, I don't know where from.
You don't buy from Russia, that's for sure.
Ideally not, yeah. Yeah, no, but yeah, you're not the first person to say that, and I doubt you'll be the last. Yeah, this is why at the moment, we're kind of just in a bit of a limbo.
It's so interesting.
But there is also more to it. Like from our personal perspective as developers, like, we've got quite a few Airbnbs, especially around London with older gas boilers. They are massive pain in the ass. They break every fucking year. So we need to have the gas certificate every year. Maintenance very, very frequently, like even every few months. Top up the pressure. So we need to show guests how to top up the freaking pressure in the system.
Yeah.
And the repairs and maintenance and gas certificates, they are so expensive and difficult to maintain that for me personally, having a brand new electric boiler, it's so much easier because you do a certificate every 5 years. It's like the electrical certificate. You don't have any gas certificates anymore. It pretty much doesn't break. It doesn't have any moving parts inside. It's just simple.
But we looked into simplicity.
Yeah,
right?
I prefer simplicity at this point.
Yeah. And again, that's...
But we are saying it might not be as efficient from your perspective.
It is efficient, but more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, yeah, especially from a conversion perspective, it does apply to new builds as well, but that's what we're hearing a lot. There's what you guys want to do as developers and even homeowners, people building their own houses, that they have a plan of what they want to do and how they want to live in their house. But then you've got the building regs that come in and go, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You've got to do that. Yeah, it happens very often. That's where there's quite a bit of contention because people don't understand why they need to achieve it when they're going to be the ones living in it, or they know it won't matter in the long run because it'll be more efficient or easier.
It's funny you're saying it because we've done the filming for the
Homes Under the Hammer.
Homes under the Hammer.
Okay,
and one of the questions there, the compulsory questions, because Homes Under the Hammer, they focus on auctions and conversions, and one of the highlight questions they have to ask you these days is, what energy efficient solutions are you planning to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
They're asking
it's
about
almost
renewable
like
energy
There's
plants.
this push for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I say it's so contradictory there, because actually there's not a lot of...
But you know what, Maggie? Fuck the government. We will still put solar on the roof. We'll have batteries and electric cars and electric boiler.
And then that way you're ready. And people do that, right? Because they believe it's a better way, more
It is a
ethical
better,
way.
more ethical way, of course, 100%. Especially if you produce some of that energy to offset the costs, and because how do you produce energy in the UK? It's like 50% now is renewable, or have you crossed that mark by now?
I think we crossed that. I did hear the other day. I think we almost surpassed 80% in renewable energy.
80%. Well done.
It was only for the day. I think. I don't know if it was permanent, but yeah, for one day it was at least 80%.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing, to be honest. I'm well impressed.
Yeah. But no, it's great to talk about this with you, because it made me realise, what moving parts we've got.
Right.
In
Yeah.
the job you do, and that the costs matter versus the efficiency and how it's all kind of
So, for
coming
example,
together.
in Swaddling Court, we will probably do gas boiler.
You think?
Yes, because
Why
of
is
the EPC. Because we won't be able to see with electric boiler there. I don't think.
I mean, yeah. So the only real negative with the gas boiler, especially if you were going to if it's a conversion, then you'll be fine. But if it's a new build, then is that you need PV on it.
What is the PV?
So solar panels, photovoltaic panels.
Sure.
So yeah, with how the new SAP works, this is only for a new build, by the way, so not conversion, but with how new SAP works, if you're designing it with a gas boiler, then PV will be applied to the notional assessment, the assessment you need to beat, essentially. Where if you're using a heat pump, no PV will apply. So that's usually why you can pass quite easily with a heat pump, even though you're getting a D rating, but you can pass building regs. Where with gas boilers, you put that gas boiler in and it will get an EPC B, but you'll still be failing the building regs because now you have to put the PV on as well.
Sure.
Again, that's the way that the government has made SAP and the methodology for the new regs. But again, that throws people through hoops as well.
It's definitely going into the right direction, but I'm questioning the execution currently.
Yeah, that's usually quite common. Yeah. The execution's quite poor in our industry, I will admit that. But lots of people have a lot of good ideas, but yeah, getting them implemented is a challenge.
Yeah, we're full of them.
Yeah, ditto, yeah.
Okay, so Nate, if you are a developer, what are the quickest wins to have the highest possible EPC rating as part of your SAP assessment? What can we do to make it higher? So we've discussed the boilers. So it's probably, if you want to have as high EPC as possible, then you will have the boiler and solars, both at the same time. Maybe even a heat pump, but you will have to check if heat pump is better than gas in your location for your building, I guess.
Yeah.
What are the other things?
So what I've seen, if you're going to bother with solar panels anyway, putting them with a battery is a must. A bigger battery as you possibly can get in SAP, I think.
So battery affects the EPC as well?
Yes, yeah, because obviously it sees the solar and then it goes, well, this is even more efficient because I can take it and I can store it and charge it, battery, and SAP loves that. Yeah, because essentially free energy for it.
Do I have to have like a stamp from the official, I don't know, a professional that installs the PV on the roofs and batteries, or can I ask a very capable electrician to do it for me?
So I would recommend you get a professional to do it. But at the end of the day, in terms of what I need to see, I need nothing from you. I just need an invoice really, just to confirm that you've bought the PV and the battery. You don't really need any certificates or anything from a SAP perspective. I don't need to see anything.
Okay. I'm not sure if you would be able to answer this question, so sorry if I throw you under the bus, but I want to understand it myself. So from your perspective, for SAP assessments, we do not need to have any official certification about the PV or the batteries around. If they are installed and the building regulation are happy, building control is happy with how you installed it all, you are happy as well, and we will have like a beautiful, amazing EPC rating. I would need the certification, however, from a certified professional that specializes in PV installation in order to be able to sell my energy back to the grid. Before that stamp, I probably cannot. I can use it myself. Right. I have good EPC, but I cannot sell it back to, to Octopus.
Okay. Right. I didn't know that. No, because I do know. Again, a couple of years ago, we used to have the MCS certificates, which I don't know if you've seen those before. MCS.
No, MCS is a different thing to me in Wi-Fi world.
No, is it right?
Like coding and schemes.
But essentially, we'd get these. Again, I don't know that much about them, but we get these certificates once someone had installed. You get them for heat pumps occasionally, but mainly for solar panels, which essentially confirms the array size and stuff like that, and confirms it's been installed properly. But for some reason, they stopped doing those a couple of years ago. So again, now again, from my perspective, the only thing you can really give me is an invoice, which I guess could be botched, to be fair. But yeah, an invoice is the best thing.
That's a good tip there. Thank you, Nate.
Again, that's the difficulty being a SAP assessor, is you're having to jump through these hoops, and then you're telling people to do things, and it's hard for you to actually verify it, because a lot of people come to us pretending like we're building control, where I'm not a BCO, so I have no authority over what you do. I just follow the building regs. Whereas a lot of people, sorry, I'm probably going off to a tangent here, but a lot of people, as I say, treat us like building control officers, where it either seems like they're hesitant to speak to their building control officers, or maybe it's just them telling the client to come to the assessor instead. But yeah, that's Sorry, I kind of, just random tangent, but yeah.
Building control is way more intimidating to speak to when compared to you, that's for sure.
Right, okay. It's good to know, because I don't know these things. I don't speak to many building control officers, so... Because I'm always
they've got power to completely...
Well, yeah, they basically you can like
shut it
finish
down.
it, and then you can have like a different building controller coming over to your building, asking you a random question about the, I don't know, a composition of fucking engineering brick under your floor, and then you have to rip this entire sheet apart in order to show it to him if you don't have a picture. So yes, they have a lot of power, and it can be quite annoying and expensive.
Yeah, but I don't know. Again, from a layman's perspective on that side of things, I would be more inclined to ask them more questions then, and be like, "What do you want to see? What do you want from me? Like, tell me exactly what you want." Because people come to me being like, "Oh, well, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that," and it's like, "Well, what does your BCO want to see?" Because they'll give you a definitive answer, and then we don't have to, waste your money. But yeah, again, I'm sure they are intimidating. So.
But that's a great tip. So if you have any questions, ask your building control officer. They will be able to help you out, answer the questions, and then you are not doing stupid mistakes, and then everyone is happy, including you and Nate.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want you to ask me questions, because I'd love to be the person that's just like, oh yeah, no, I'll allow this, and I'll let you do that. I'd love to be that guy, but I'm not, so I can't. So yeah, definitely always speak to your BCO if you can first. Yeah.
Cool. Right, so obviously we've talked a lot about SAP and kind of the requirements, so there's a lot of detail there, but on the very, very high level, that's using like better windows, better boiler, insulation. Would that always guarantee a better rating, for SAP? Or is there anything else we should think about?
Again,
or is that like general approach is basically what we need, or is it better to consult you?
Yeah, so what...
It's always better to consult Nate,
I know
especially if he starts charging for an hour.
Because I know some new starters, when they start their first project, they might not have a huge budget, right? So I guess the question is it better to consult you guys beforehand, or is it okay to take some general approach and...
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I would say if you're on a budget, it's more of a reason to come to your SAP assessor first, because especially in terms of your bang for buck, your SAP assessor, I found anyway, is usually on the cheaper side in comparison to your building control officer and everyone else you need to get involved, where you can get quite a lot of value out of your SAP assessor if you just get them involved early. Because as I said, I'm not necessarily the one who can definitively say this or that, but I can guide you.
If you help the customer to bring up the EPC from D to C, you've added fuckloads of value to that asset, to that property. Fuckloads.
Yeah. So you get it. Yeah, exactly. Which is why we say come early, because we could save you thousands, almost unintentionally. It's just because we've ran the SAP and we know what rating you want to achieve. In terms of sort of more complex fabrics and stuff like better windows or fancier installations, again, it's from my experience, you can only really go so far when you're coming to fabrics. So even if you've got a really, really airtight building that's got, say 0.1 U values throughout everywhere, you've got triple glazing, you may be looking at a high C to low B with a house of sort of, again, a standard sort of gas house. That's what you're looking at. You're not going to get into your A rating with just your fabric side of things.
How can you get to an A rating? I've never seen it in my life.
Well, yeah, see, that's a really annoying thing as well, because from the commercial side of things with SBEM, every single new build is an A. Every single one, because of how the regs now are. Where with SAP, it's kind of the complete opposite.
You build first and then you ask for rating later.
Yeah. Really, to get an A, you're looking at doing all three. You're looking at making sure the fabrics are really good. You need to make sure that it passively is generating heat as well. So this is more going into the overheating side of things.
So passively, it means like you need to eat a lot of baked beans and fart inside.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. But that's more via so solar gains coming through the windows and things like that. So essentially you're heating the house naturally just based on the design and where the windows are orientated.
Let's dwell on it for a second. So it matters where you position your windows in order for the sun to hit it at the right angle in order to get to EPC rate A. You need to start thinking in these categories now?
Realistically, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, not every time you don't need to, but it will definitely help, depending on the orientation of your windows.
Does the moon phase affect EPC rating as well?
Unfortunately not. I wish it did, but it doesn't,
I
no.
guess from the practical perspective, if you've got I guess if we've got a street in front, if you've got a busy street outside your building, right, that is going to impact.
Busy street. Why would a busy street affect my EPC rating?
Oh no, okay, sorry.
It could impact your sound testing.
The noise, the sound taste. Yeah, I guess that's what I've had in mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
moving on.
yeah. As I said, EPC A's can be quite achievable. It is often PV, to be honest. Solar panels that will really help.
But I would need to have a boiler. So gas boiler and solar panels and triple glazing and a lot of natural sun heating up passively the property. And the fabrics of the building being done to the highest possible standard with fuckloads of insulation, thermal insulation, a roof being done to a super high standard as well when it comes to insulation. And then we can start discussing EPC rate A.
Yeah. Or at the very least, you've got to be open to those ideas. The clients that want to get EPC A's,
I'm always open. I just don't want to pay for it that much.
Who does? But yeah, they need to be flexible, essentially, because there are multiple different ways we could achieve an A rating, but yeah, it really depends on where you want to go as a client and what you want to do. As I said, for an A rating, you're looking at gas and PV or heat pump and PV. Realistically, again, there might be some exceptions in that, depending on how well you design the building and how small or large it is. But yeah, I think generally they're trying to make it, as I mentioned about commercials and the fact that at the moment that every single one is an EPC A, and it kind of makes it a bit redundant if every building is getting an A. So I think they want to make it so it is challenging to get to that A rating.
Yeah, it is.
Makes sense, right?
But yeah, maybe too challenging.
It is like in my head, like when you see EPC rate C, I already feel like it's an amazing rating. C is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
It's
if I see
not bad,
D, I think it can be improved, but if I see C, I know it's a great building.
Yeah. I mean, it can be. Yeah, it can be. Again, it's a bit annoying because with the changes in regulations, we had the old regulations, which was 2012, 2013 SAP, which a lot of these EPCs you're seeing are probably generated from that, which favoured solar panels massively. So if you put even a kilowatt on, you could easily get a B rating, maybe even an A rating with just a couple of kilowatts.
But for how long is the EPC rating valid for? How many years?
So it'll be 10 years. So yeah, quite a while.
So all this like early PV properties, they are probably running out of the EPC and they need to reassess their properties.
Yes.
At which point it will probably drop down.
It may do, yeah. So again, our industry is all cut up all over the place as much as possible. So for existing properties, you'll have a different type of EPC. You do something called a reduced data SAP, which is kind of similar to what I do, but isn't what I do. So yeah, the methodology is slightly different. So the EPC rating may change. I don't know if it necessarily means it will go lower.
Let's inverse this question. Let's say that I have a low EPC and I had an assessment done last week. I want to get it up to EPC rate C. I've scrapped my brand new beautiful electric boiler and now I installed gas like everyone does. And I want to have EPC rate C now. What do I do? Can I do a SAP assessment at any given time to up my EPC rating, or do I have to wait for 10 years?
Oh, yeah, you can do it anytime. Yeah, you don't have to wait those 10 years. It's just it expires in 10 years. And even once it does expire, there's no requirement for you to have to get it renewed unless you are looking to make a new lease or sell the property. Where if you're living in it, you're a landlord or whatever, or you've got a tenant who's doesn't really care about it or whatever, and you don't need to make a new tenancy agreement with them or anything for a while, then you can just let it lapse. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
It's great to know. So I need to have fresh EPC that is like a valid EPC rating if I want to have a new lease, new tenancy, or sell the building.
Yep, basically, yep. Or unless anyone else asks for it, but they're usually the main reasons anyway. But yeah, even if it has lapsed, it's not usually you're going to get fined or anything. It's just, do you mind going to get a new one done when you can?
It's a shame. I love being fined.
Okay. Is that everything? So So we're obviously focusing on SAP quite a lot because I know that this is the core of what you do.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing to do.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, I would say SAP kind of combines everything together. This is why we get usually kind of the shitty end of the stick, to be honest, because we're the ones that get lumped with everything.
Yeah. Just thinking, have we covered everything? Is in terms of the paperwork, what would you advise? Is there anything that it's sort of important to remember to keep from the builders? To avoid any unexpected situations. Things like SAP downgrades. Is that even a thing? Can you get downgraded, or is it sort of more a...
No, yeah. I mean, I guess all I could really recommend is keep everything you can as clear as you can, because a big thing that we also get is people paying builders and developers to do the project, but then they haven't recorded what insulation they've used. They're not even sure what heating system they've bothered to put in. Again, I don't know how you could be in that kind of position to not know what you're paying somebody tens of thousands of pounds to do, because I would know what they're doing. It seems a lot of people do happily do that, which doesn't help me. I want to be able to help all the clients the best I can, but I do need data in order to do that.
Okay, so I guess just the lesson learned, just to be diligent and...
Because otherwise, in order to get the EPC, then we'll have to start opening up the walls, opening up the vents to see what the installation is, in cavity walls. It's pain in the ass at that point.
I mean, bear in mind, you only look at it every 10 years. So, I guess it makes...
That might be changing as well, though.
Remember to keep the notes.
You think?
Again,
so it will be more... the cadence of EPC requirements might change?
Yeah, so I know, well, that's actually a whole other thing, so EPCs are going to be changing in the future, and SAP in general. I think SAP is actually getting scrapped, or at least remoulded into something brand new. It's going to be called the Future Home Standard. Don't know if you've ever heard of anything about that.
Yeah, I like the name.
Yeah, it sounds nice, Essentially, it is going to be very similar to SAP, but it's going to be rebuilt from the ground up, and a little bit more detail into where the methodology into how it's calculating things is going to be taken into account a bit more. Again, we know...
So if I wanted to understand more about how SAP is calculated, do I have access to a government-issued documents that show me put a gas boiler, don't use electric because of this, do a solar panels and don't do, I don't know, heat pump because of this? Can I plan ahead without having to consult anyone when it comes to the design of the building?
It's just the interpretation as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can. If you look into Part L, the Building Regs document, that will have a notional specification within it, which is essentially what SAP is comparing against. So I might have already explained, but SAP basically is taking what you're designing, your building, and comparing it to a building that is meeting all the building regulations, so has all of the good U values, has a gas boiler or whatever inside of it, and essentially it's comparing the two assessments, and you have to beat the notional. Sorry, I've kind of slightly lost my train of thought there a little bit.
No, that answers the question quite perfectly, to be honest.
Does it? Yeah.
Okay, so let's. I think we've talked about SAP quite a lot now, so hopefully, everyone understands what it is about. So, as a comparison, several months ago, I knew about EPC and stuff, but I had no fucking idea that SAP means EPC, pretty much.
Yeah.
There we go.
This episode is brought to you by Zen Properties, where we turn stress into success and bricks into passive income. We develop, convert, and add serious value to property projects across the UK. From HMOs to serviced accommodation. If you're a private investor looking for a solid return, we offer 11 to 15% annual interest, fully assets backed, and with all legal costs on us. And if your business wants to get in front of a fast-growing property audience, you can sponsor an episode just like this one. Find us on zenproperties.uk.
That's helpful. Cool. So let's move to the different types of professional surveys that we need to do as part of building new buildings or converting new, conversions like commercial or mixed use to residential, HMOs, whatever. What are the other parts? Shall we talk about ventilation quickly, perhaps?
Quite high level, because obviously the SAP was core for us. So how do you think the the poor ventilation can lead to all the issues that you've got, such as mould.
Smelly people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how could we prevent it if we ever come across?
Well, realistically, air testing is a big one as well in that side of things. So I know it's a separate service, but yeah, air testing can at least show you.
Do you typically do these two together, ventilation and airtightness?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. They don't really. Well, they do kind of go together, but in terms of testing, it's totally separate. But yeah,
Can
they are
either of
interlinked.
those improve your EPC rating?
Yes, the air test score can. Yeah. So ideally, a lower air test means a better EPC rating most of the time.
That's what happened to us as well, right? So we had EPC rate D, and then you've said to do airtightness. We've done it, and then it increased the EPC to rate C.
Yeah, exactly. And usually for sort of that £200 the air test it's usually quite worth it. You're getting quite a lot of bang for your buck, hopefully.
Totally.
But again, it's where the building regs are all a little bit of a mess at the moment, because you have a lower air tightness, which helps your EPC rating in your SAP, but then isn't going to help your overheating. So, because it's going to make it hotter in there, and it's going to make it harder to cool down. So it's, again, such a balancing act, making sure all of these parts are all aligned just right.
So ventilation and airtightness, they need to be balanced, both of them, in order to have good ventilation, no mold. At the same time, airtightness, if you tight it too much, then your ventilation is fucked at the same time as well. So you will still have mold, even if your mechanical ventilation works perfectly.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. You need to make sure that the property is able to be ventilated, but isn't, if that makes any sense. So it is airtight.
How can you ventilate your property? What's required?
A lot of people nowadays are going for sort of MVHR systems instead of intermittent extracts. So that's a mechanical ventilation heat recovery unit. So that essentially, you'll see them sort of in shops and stuff oftentimes, or big commercial buildings. They'll suck heat from certain rooms and then put it into others that are cooler, or vice versa. Can do passive cooling as well and suck heat out of rooms and then spit it out.
That's exactly what Nick has told us to do in Spalding Code. If we can, we'll see.
It's quite a bit of an investment, right?
Is it more expensive? It sounds expensive.
Yeah. You'll need ducting, and it'll need to be designed in. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, probably quite a bit more expensive.
But by ducting, you mean I don't need water pipes anymore. I need ducting. I have no radiators, but I have vents.
Right. Oh, so that's slightly different. So that, So that is a thing as well. That's an exhaust air heat pump sort of system, which you can also do with MVHR. To be fair, but MVHR in this context, I'm talking more for ventilation over heating.
I see.
But yeah, you can do heating as well, and as I said, you can do passive cooling.
So the MVHR,
Yeah.
MVHR.
MVHR, yeah.
So I can use this piece of shit system to heat up my property, to cool my property, and to help with ventilation all at the same time.
Yeah. You can.
And I don't need a radiator as well, if I do it this way.
Yes, you can. But again, there's another caveat, like with everything in our industry, SAP doesn't love MVHR. Oftentimes, especially if you're using it maybe for heating and cooling and ventilation, it can be fine. Yeah. But if you're going to just use it for ventilation, which a lot of people do, it'll actually hinder the SAP again. So it'll help part F and how the house is to actually live in as a tenant. But yeah, from a SAP perspective, it'll go, hey, I'm seeing this ventilation system, it's using a lot of energy and I don't like it. Essentially, it still doesn't consider the MVHR to be beneficial enough to help the EPC rating. Even though in practicality, with somebody living in it, they will notice a big difference.
They will or they will not?
They will, yeah, of course, because they'll have, a conditioned building that they can, essentially regulate and live comfortably in. But SAP sees it as just a waste of energy, because it's a lot of energy in MVHR system again, that it drains.
That's how I steal my wife.
Wow.
So what if we use that system for the heating and the air and the ventilation and basically everything? Would you be okay getting a C rating?
Yeah. So we have seen some systems like that. I think they're called NIBEs or NIBE systems, NIBE, which they're exhaust air heat pumps, which can do all three.
Okay. So the caveat here is that we need to have space in walls and ceilings and potentially floors to run ducting in order to be able to use the MHVR system to heat and cool and vent the property sufficiently.
Without the
Without
radiators.
radiator.
Yeah.
So I need to have this space somewhere. So it's possible to do in a new build and plan around it. It's probably possible to do it in my house, like a new build house. I can like retrofit it because we have voids everywhere, false ceilings, 4 floors. But if we buy a cottage in Cotswolds, then it's pain in the ass because you have like 1 meter stone walls and there is no space in the floor, no space in the walls. So probably that's the challenge there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously with things like MVHR and any kind of ventilation system, you're going to want the building to be very airtight in order for it to perform as well as it should be able to. So if you've got sort of an air test result of 5, 6, your ventilation system isn't going to work half as well as it would do if you were getting sort of a 3 on your air test. But again, it's all such a balancing act, which is why you should definitely come to assessors as early as possible, because that's where you'll spend as little money as possible, because it'll just be an initial assessment, and you can at least get things figured out about where you want to go and what is even possible for the rating you want to achieve.
A lot of moving parts there from what we discussed.
So you can plan to put the MVHR unit in your head, but then you get an assessor coming over saying this is not airtight enough, it's not going to work too well, and then you can save yourself tens of thousands of pounds potentially by putting in a system that is not going to work too well.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that most people should be able to get their air test result lower anyway, because it is just a case of sealing most of the time. So if you're doing a full conversion or even a retrofit, again, I'm not a developer, so maybe I'm speaking, maybe it's not as easy as I think it is. But yeah, you should be sealing, making the house airtight, right? Is that not sort of a common thing anyway for somebody converting a dwelling or something?
A common sense, right?
Fill the holes, go behind the plumbing, fill them, and so you should be able to at least, I would say, most houses should be able to get at least a 5 or a 4 on their air test.
What is the highest?
Again, it changes. Highest is often considered to be about 15, because most of the time, if you're getting 15 or plus on an air test, it's that leaky that the results are now very inaccurate. It's just bad. 10 used to be the old minimum, but now it's been changed to 8. And I can imagine it's only going to get tighter, to be honest. I can imagine that shifting to 6 in the next few years. This is only for new builds, though. At the moment, conversions don't need an air test. But that is, again, something they've been speaking about for years, that they said, we're going to get conversions to need to be air tested.
It makes sense to make it a requirement, in my opinion.
Yeah, same. Although at the same time, it's nice to be able to help clients out by suggesting it. Like yourself, we can go, we can do an air test. So
it makes your life easier as well, right? So when people come to you, they do everything at the same time. So legislation dictates that, and then you don't need to waste energy talking to people why it's good to have it. You just do it.
Yeah. And obviously, this is probably more of my own personal thing. The difficulty that we're finding, especially with SAP and new builds now as well, is that even with all the other services, to be honest, is that it's options like that, like a conversion not needing an air test and me being able to suggest it to improve the rating. If they make it a requirement, they're kind of stripping my suggestions and my services down, because I can't help people anymore. I can't. There's nothing else to suggest, because now you have to have it. And that's kind of where we're at with new builds at the moment, where there's not many suggestions. You either build it to the notional standard, or there's no get out of jail free cards. So well, again, with conversions at the moment, there still are quite a few of them. So
So how can landlords actually spot the poor ventilation during or after the refurb?
Nose test. Smells.
Because again, we did say it's such a common sense, but sometimes the failure, it might be quite rare and not as common. But sometimes surely
it is quite common. Look. So we've had a full refurbishment with a different builder in Stonyhurst in our buy-to-let property, and we had a fully fitted bathroom, brand new bathroom, tiles and everything, and they forgot about ventilation. There was no ventilation at all in the bathroom. So in the 2 years, we had all the silicons, and mould was pretty much eating with people alive. It was developing a civilization, the mould and all the worms and stuff in there. Yeah. So we had to rip it apart and put a mechanical ventilation, a quite good quality one, to get rid of this problem.
Right, yeah.
So it definitely, if it happened to us, it happens to other people as well.
So I guess it's more visual then, right? You can see mainly with would that be the mould, right? I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably won't notice until after the fact. It'll take a while, yeah, and by that time it'll be more expensive.
It's impossible to sort of spot it beforehand.
Yeah, spot the vent.
You just need to use common sense and think about it, right? And
Yeah. I mean, there are some requirements. Obviously, it's not foolproof, the building regs. It tries its best to make sure most of the time, your house shouldn't be moulding or anything as long as you're conforming to them and have vents in the right places.
Yeah, because I guess we're thinking about conversions at the moment, because that project we've spoken about, it was an old building. I don't want old, not like old, but it was how many years?
60 years old.
Oh, really? 60?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So I guess when you do conversions like that, and you purchased a rundown property, and you convert it into a HMO or just is it a buy-to-let, whatever, then it's important to maybe take a fresh look and see whether the airflow is going to be okay for the next few years, right?
100%.
Definitely, yeah.
That was our lesson learned.
No.
Yeah, because I feel like you can overlook it because it sounds like a minor and...
Well, when you're starting, there's so many things to look at that you will definitely overlook things.
Yeah, true. Hence, we talk about about it today.
So you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move to noise, sound?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, why do we need it?
Well, it keeps things nice and quiet in our new builds, as you say, so you can't literally hear everyone walking and breathing next door to you.
Yeah, that's annoying, isn't it?
Which is, a fair reason, I'd say.
So do we have a requirement from the government, from the building control when it comes to noise?
So yes, there is a minimum requirement for both walls and floors. So usually they do... Again, sound's not my forte, so I'll tell you what I know. They do airborne testing, which essentially big speaker in one side of the room, you go to the other side, and then you play a sound and you record it. Simple as that, really. And then they do the same for floors as well. So do an airborne, from first story in the ground floor, for example. And then they also do impact testing, which is essentially simulating footsteps on the floor upstairs, and again, recording and measuring them. I know there are set decibel limits that they have to achieve or come under in order to pass.
And would that be different, conversions versus new builds, or like...
I don't believe so.
Yeah, okay,
I don't think so. I think it is, the same. Obviously, I think for commercial buildings, I don't think it matters. I don't think it applies to any commercials. So if you've got a flat above a shop or above a shop or something, then I think they'll be more interested in the airborne sound from the shop to the flat than they would be from the flat to the shop. Yeah. Also, just a very difficult thing to diagnose. So, as I did briefly mention about the robust building details that you can build your wall to conform to and not need a sound test. That's quite a rarity to find something like that, because when we're doing sound tests, some properties can pass and others could fail with almost the exact same specification. Because it really
what would affect it really? What do you need to be looking out for?
Again, gaps, holes, but it's how sound travels. Sound isn't particularly consistent with its travel. Again, this is all very...
So it's not just the insulation. It's like you need to even think about the acoustics as well, perhaps, a little bit?
Yes, yeah. So obviously you should have your insulation and ideally maybe some rubber as well on your floors and stuff. But yeah, depending on where corridors are orientated, where doors open, even just the room size and the shape, that can completely change how the sound bounces and travels.
Probably like the floor composition, right? So if you have carpets or wooden floors or laminate floors, it will all affect it. If you have like a membrane under the floor, if it's like a more on the soft side or more on like a very sturdy side, it will definitely affect it as well.
Yep. I think traditionally you shouldn't be testing with any floor coverings down usually for sound testing. So it should be pre-carpet, laminate flooring or anything, just bare floorboards or whatever you've got.
So just taking a step back, because I know SAP is basically EPC, right? So that's very government-heavy requirement. When it comes to sound and government requirements, I know obviously they are requirements, but do you need to submit something to anyone in terms of building?
Again, I don't know if you submit per se. I think that you would do. It's a company.
I can answer that question.
So is it more nice to have quality?
Go for it, yeah.
To our tenants.
Yeah, it's not a nice to have. You need to submit all the surveys to building control, all of it.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
vent, noise, and SAP is required, and air is not. But I submitted it as well, just to show the harm.
Okay.
No,
Right.
yeah. So I think, so you won't get an EPC sort of government certificate for your sound, but
Right.
you'll get an accredited certificate still. So it's...
So you need to tick the box, basically.
And not only that, we needed all the surveys, not only for building control, but then we had to have all the surveys again, plus building control completion certificate to present it to PCC warranty provider for a new build, to have warranty that will then be required for refinance of your property. So you need the surveys like in more than one place.
Okay, cool. So it's not like we're doing it for the sake of things.
It's not just a tick box,
It's a
no.
nice to have.
And it is really required. I think like the sound noise is a very, very important test, because if you fuck it up on a construction site, then your tenants will just not have a comfortable time living there.
Yeah, exactly that. It's
Like talk to
usually
your brother, right?
it's one of the first things that people will notice is the sound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you do have like a lorry driver or whoever, and they need to sleep during the day and
100%.
work during the night and stuff like that.
Yeah, we even like go extra lengths.
But
like,
just going, from the different angle, because we're focusing on a detail, and just for anyone else who doesn't know, I thought it's...
But this is a great conversation to have. So, like, to make sure that you have this insulation, it's very important to, we put like a rubber gaskets around the doors as well, like the seals. So it's like a soft closing and not annoying, and it doesn't do wobbly things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the entrance door we installed, and the sound insulation just wasn't there, and obviously it was impacting the well-being of our
100%.
tenant.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all taken care of.
Do you do the noise with the open doors? The noise assessment?
What, with interior doors open?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
So you open up all the internal doors in the property, and you just close the external doors to the property, and then you test the noise going between the properties and not inside the single property.
I believe so, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how it's done, yeah, because we are trying to measure how the sound is bouncing around in your property and then going through the party walls. So,
I really wonder,
yeah.
so if you have a house like this is like a 3-story house, a new build, right? Mm-hmm. Does the developer have to do the noise tests between the floors in a single family house?
No.
That is detached?
No, yeah, that's not touched.
That is why it's so shit here.
Yeah.
Because it's not a requirement.
But the same in my house, it's just timber floor, so you can hear
There is
everything.
no installation there either.
That's what I meant at the very beginning. I think I got confused, you guys. That was my question.
Oh, right, I see. Yeah, so no. I mean, even when it comes to sound testing, again, I think they still do sample testing for it as well. So if, for example, you've got 10 of the same houses, you only have to test one set of those houses. Mm-hmm. If they've all got the same construction type.
That makes sense, kind of, right?
It does, but obviously it doesn't show quality of build again, because that means the house you've bought and spent your hard-earned savings on might actually not be the one that got tested and might not have any insulation in the wall, or might not have this, or might not have that. It was similar to the air testing as well. They used to allow sample testing for air, but with the new regs, they got rid of that. So every single new build now has to have an air test on its own. You can't test one of a similar kind and then use that.
Obviously,
figure.
like builders can fuck up something, right? And it can affect heavily the air testing results.
Again, I'm not trying to point fingers at the big developers, but they used to do that a lot. Yeah, they'd have 300 plots, they'd make 2 or 3 of them squeaky clean, so they did really, really well. But then the rest of them were, half baked.
Questionable.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I definitely think sample testing shouldn't be a thing. You should test each house individually, especially when people, are spending their, it's their life savings for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
We're not focusing on commercial to resident?
I think we talked. So we have a question in our notes about commercial to residential conversion.
But I think we've covered that, right?
I think we've covered that quite heavily now. So shall we just like summarize what we've discussed? So we've discussed the EPC SAP. So we've discussed that it's quite efficient still to use, not efficient, cheap and affecting positively EPC to use gas boilers and not electric boilers. It is still possible to have an electric boiler and still achieve EPC rate C. We are an example of that with the recent conversion. Heat pumps are better. MVHR pumps are better as well. And then you need to think about the windows, installation of your envelope, including the roofs and floors and walls, right? And then vent and air testing, airtightness, how tightly insulated your property is when it comes to your air going out or in the property, and also the noise is very important as well. These are all very important assessments to make when you're a builder or a developer working on conversions. I would add a few more there. So you need to think about other professional surveys like parking beat surveys as well. And then, we've discussed PD last week or 2 weeks ago. It actually re-aired in December. But we've discussed the contamination and natural light surveys. There are a lot of different surveys that you need to take under consideration. It's not just these surveys for efficiency. These are the surveys for logistic part of your construction as well. Yeah. Probably a discussion for a different podcast.
And why is that so important? Because it can delay your project.
Or you can stop it.
6 months at least.
Yeah. Or you can stop it completely. So if you don't hit a single checkbox, then you will not have a planning permission, as simple as that, right? Or your building regulation will not give you a final certification, and that will lead not having warranty, and you will not be able to refinance. So yeah, be careful and be very diligent. Cool. So just a quick cheat sheet then. What are your 5 best tips to achieve the highest EPC and pass all the compliance?
Why 5? Maybe just...
5? I'd say, yeah, that's quite a few. Make it 10, 20, why not? Well, I'd say number 1 is come to your SAP assessor as soon as you can, just as early as you possibly can. It shouldn't be a waste of money. At least the way that sort of we do things is I'm not going to keep recharging you for a SAP every time. If you're working closely with me, and you keep me updated and in the loop about what you want to do, I'm not going to rob all of your money. So get your SAP sorted at design stage, definitely. If not even preliminary, if you can, as early as possible, as soon as you have some drawings. That's only 1 though, isn't it? So I feel under pressure now. I've got to admit, I feel more anxious now.
Yeah, we don't have to do 10. Don't worry, man.
I guess. What is the cheapest upgrade that you think people could think about to improve the energy?
Well, I mean, a good one, as we've already discussed, is an air test for conversions. It can be really, really good, actually. You can get sort of 3-4 EPC points just for 200 quid. And obviously your time going around sealing and making sure it's nice and airtight beforehand.
That's a good one, right?
Yeah, that's what people that probably most developers, they will not know. There's little intricacies, do the air survey. If you believe that your building is built to a high standard, do it, because if it's built to a bad standard, it will affect it negatively, right?
Yeah.
Your EPC.
Well, again, with a conversion, probably not, because a conversion, because it doesn't need an air test, it has a default of 15 in there. So as long as it gets 15 or better, which it should do, even in quite bad buildings, it should really get lower than 15. Yeah, so it should usually be a positive. But yeah.
So you've mentioned that to come to you first. What do you think the cost difference would it be between designing things right to begin with versus fixing them later?
I mean, yeah, it could almost be endless, because it could be tens of thousands by the time, you've had to knock holes through, you've had to re-insulate walls if you haven't got the right U values. Again, a big one that can catch people out is that you do have maximum U values that you can achieve on your walls, floors and roof. So if you're trying to cut corners and you don't achieve those U values, it could be a case of you're going to have to dismantle the wall and rebuild it, which is awful. Yeah, awful. And it's pretty bad from a SAP assessor's perspective, me having to be the one to tell you to do that as well, because I don't get much satisfaction from having to tell people to do that. But yeah, sometimes it does need to happen. And this is ignoring, things like systems. What if you've gone and put an MVHR system in that doesn't really work, or you've got a boiler that's not particularly efficient? Yeah, it could be a lot of money down the drain just for not having a very quick hour conversation or half-hour conversation with me at the start.
So true. So I can you talk about it. I could imagine all of this happening to developers that just are starting out and they don't spend a few hundred quid on having these conversations.
Question to you, Mac. What was the biggest value you got from
Nate?
From Nate.
So the air survey was it was the great recommendation. Because of that, we have EPC rate C and not EPC rate D. So that alone increased the value of your properties by 10%. And convert that, compare how much we paid Nate versus how much we got money out of it from having EPC rate C. And then down the line, the government will change the requirements where you will have to have EPC rate C in order to be able to rent out your property to tenants or sell it, at which point you will have to do the assessments again and improvements and shell out money. And we didn't have to do it because we have great EPC rating from day one. So that was amazing, Nate. Thank you very much for that.
Anytime.
And what do you think the value for money did you get?
Value for money from Nate. Nate was amazing. I wouldn't say that Nate is the cheapest or the most expensive, but he's definitely one of the most experienced and good people to work with. It's like one of these few professionals that I worked with that I really enjoyed working with, and I never felt weird when I wanted to reach out, give Nate a call or send him an email. So accessibility to a professional is also a very important thing to us. Right? Sometimes you have a lot of red tape to even get to building control. You don't have them on a WhatsApp group or access through email. It's annoying. It takes days or weeks to have a response. The only slow part in our relationship was me and you paying invoices. Everything else was very fast.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's such a good point for someone to be so approachable and easy to talk to.
That's the most important thing for me.
This is how we select our support, our team around us.
Yeah.
Right, because effectively you go to you come across all those interactions, and that's how you build the team. You stay with, for whatever
100%.
duration of your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also good. So good to have you, Nate. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So let's switch to a closing questions. These are the biggest fun. Now back to you, Nate. Yeah. What is the biggest fuck up that you have done in your professional career?
Oh yeah, that's a thinker. Biggest fuck up. I mean, again, thankfully, with sort of what the work that I do is, there's not a lot of area where I personally can fuck up, because I'm using a lot of the data that you're supplying me. And yeah,
if you're perfect, that's
maybe
absolutely
if we
fine.
switch this to the biggest fuck up you've seen.
I've seen, yeah, because that was actually maybe a little bit more recently, which again just shows how the regs and SAP is very confusing. I had somebody who was designing a straw baled house. So, yeah, something new to me. They were literally building the walls out of straw. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just literally straw bales. Yep, just straw bales stuck into some massive wooden spikes and then a bit of lime plaster on the sides. Actually did quite well in terms of energy efficiency, and was a rural site. So they wanted to go with a biomass boiler, which on paper should be really, really good, because that's a nice eco-friendly system essentially.
So biomass boiler is it turns your shit into heating?
Basically, yeah, just scraps and wood crap, whatever. So yeah, they're quite efficient systems usually. However, in this case, they wanted to go with a fancy communal system because it was an existing biomass boiler for this site that they had, and so they wanted to go with an existing system. And it actually ended up failing the SAP by about 400%, which was by far the biggest failure I've ever had, by far. And there was not a lot they could really do about it. The only real option that I could come up with was either beg your building control officer just to let it through anyway, or you're going to have to just put in a heat pump for the sake of building regs. So it was a case of they put in the heat pump and then rip it straight out as soon as they got signed off, which was going to be 10-15 grand just for sign off, really.
That's awful.
Yeah. Eventually the building control officer was incredibly lenient with them and allowed it to pass as is. So
that was a system fuck up, right? So they didn't do anything wrong. It was efficient, it was good. It was just not in line with the software that is
with the software. And none of us really anticipated that it was going to be that way either. Both the architect, even me, I didn't anticipate that it was going to be quite that bad. I could imagine, a small failure, and we could have offset it with a bit of PV or something somewhere. But a 400% failure is a down and outright failure. There is nothing you're going to do to redeem that. And again, apparently it was because of how SAP looked at the communal system, and it's all a bit rubbish and a bit broken, to be honest. Again, it wasn't really their fault, but obviously it was too far in the project by this point, because they'd waited right until the end to get the SAP done.
That's a good piece of advice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do not wait until the end.
Yeah. Again, they had great intentions, and on paper they thought everything was going to be all right. And I would have said the same thing if you asked me it. But
So when should people approach you? At what stage of the project?
As soon as you get your first architectural drawings, as soon as the first preliminary drawings are made.
So even before you start building something, so doing a demolition, opening up is fine, but before you start building anything, at the conceptual phase, it's best to contact you to make sure that the design makes sense.
Yeah, personally, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Does it affect the price when it comes to what you quote, when we come to you early or late, or is it the same?
So the price, no, the price should be the same. I mean, if you come to me really late and you want an EPC within like a couple of days, then I'm gonna charge you a bit, yeah. But yeah, no, it shouldn't affect the price at all if you're coming, mid or early.
So consultancy price doesn't change when people approach you early, but their fuck-up price might change dramatically if they progress with the project that is not progressible.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a lot more work involved for you then?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's probably more of a pet peeve for me, to be honest, but I know my business colleague as well agrees. Making amendments to a SAP can be quite a pain in the arse, especially. So yeah, usually the thing that will catch people out if you get your SAP done really early on is that if you do make structural changes, if you are going to redesign things, then maybe that's not the best idea to get it done super early if you're going to, say, add a whole new extension or something onto the project. But if structurally it's going to remain the same, like in your guys' cases where it's usually conversions, so you're not usually doing anything to the external shell per se, you're just upgrading it and then filling it. So yeah, no reason to get it done as early as possible in your case. But if you are going to maybe make lots and lots of structural changes, then yes, you are going to have more costs because it's just a pain to remodel things in SAP like that. But the way that I do it anyway, if you come to me early, there's no structural changes, but you say instead of a gas boiler you want to put in a heat pump instead, I personally won't charge anyone for that. For system changes and things like that, we don't charge. I know some companies do. But yeah, the way I see it is I'm happy to let you have a look at your options, especially if you want to have a look at different systems, see what EPC rating you'll get for each system.
So helpful.
It's so flexible, so I love it.
So helpful because like typically people will just do something and then they'll do assessment, fail it, and then they will ask the question. It's better to ask this question before you fuck it up.
Exactly,
yeah.
So on the flip side of the biggest fuck up, what would be, I guess, one piece of advice you would give to someone renovating the property? What would it be? Other than coming to you first.
Yeah. Biggest piece I would suggest to them.
Don't do drugs.
Almost like basically,
try not to.
If you were the one, almost from looking at from your own kind of experience of renovating any property.
I mean, again, you guys haven't done it, and it's not very often. But some clients, again, just don't really seem to understand what even the property they're converting is in the first place. So that's always a good step to at least have an understanding of how old is the dwelling, or how old is the building, when was it last renovated, when did it last have any works done to it. Maybe have a look on the planning portal and have a look and supply any relevant bits of information to any assessors or your building control officer about these details as well. We do get a lot of people sometimes maybe again just expecting a little bit too much out of a SAP assessor, I'll have to admit. So maybe having a little bit of initiative and just getting things together as much as you can early on will definitely, at least from my perspective, is going to encourage me to want to help you more if I can see that you've done quite a lot, or at least tried to get a lot together. We get some people that send me a drawing and it's one floor plan, no elevations, no sections, and it's actually and they're like, oh, do me a SAP, and you're like, well, what do you want? What do you want me to, you need to tell me what you want, and then I can help you. So yeah, maybe just having a bit of clarity on your own project would always be very good.
Sounds like a bit of preparation would be valuable.
Yeah, again, it might be the caliber of clients sometimes we deal with, because I get some of the big clients, obviously they do pay a lot of people to deal with it all for them. But again, it's having, who is that person then? Tell me who that is, or you should be aware as the client instructing me who is the right person to go to get the answers we need, because you often can find there's a lot of different voices speaking up at once, and you get conflicting information and things like that. Whereas just combining it into one package right off the start can make your life a lot easier going forward, and it'll make things cheaper as well, to be honest, because Yeah.
Do you have more capacity? Because I love working with you so much. I will be recommending you left and right on every conference, podcast, our websites and shit. Can you take on more?
Definitely. Yes. No, we definitely can. Yeah. That's at the moment. That's what we're trying to do as well. We are trying to expand because we've got as I said, we've got a close knit sort of group of clients at the moment that we've been working with for a few years. But we are looking to meet some new faces and kind of just throw ourselves out there a little bit more. At the moment as well, we are trying to get set up with air testing more in-house. So I've got an air testing kit. It's just finding the work, which can be difficult.
Shouldn't be a problem when you're recommended by like big fish like Ben and Jack from XP Property, for example. Actually, that's how we met.
Yep.
So they recommended your services to Maggie and I. So it's just a matter of time until you start growing even more, because you will have more and more people giving you a great recommendation to their friends and circles.
I hope so. Yeah, that means a lot though to hear that.
You're welcome, man. Like it is what it is. It's completely true, right? Any more questions, Maggie?
No, I think we've exhausted quite a few things. I mean, do you want to shoot in a question?
Yeah, sure. So, like, the very important question is, where can people find you if they want to have an introduction? Obviously, if you want an introduction, you can ask Maggie and I, and we will like shoot you an email or tell you how to contact Nate. But if you want to contact Nate directly, how do you do that?
Multiple ways. You can come to our website, which is just productive. That's double V .energy, which does throw people off sometimes as well. The fact that it's just productive .energy. But yeah, that's our website.
Yeah, cool domain.
Yeah.
I was looking for a website, and then I've realised the spelling at the end. I was like, this is not the company I was looking for.
Yeah, we get that as well.
I love it. It's a good one.
We just want it to be a bit different, So yeah. Or you can email me, which is just Nate at productive.energy. Or you're always welcome to give me a call as well. I've usually got my phone on loud. So yeah.
That's helpful.
I typically have on Do Not Disturb, so we are different in this.
I used to, but then I never picked up the phone. So yeah, I have to be better. So
yeah, okay. So guys, like, please do reach out to Nate. He's amazing. Recommend him extremely, extremely highly. And Nate, where can we have a pint together?
Where?
Where are you based?
I am in Nottingham, North Nottingham at the moment, near Doncaster.
It's not too far, to be honest.
Not at all.
Yeah, is that not too far?
No.
Is it an hour?
Yeah, probably like hour and 15 minutes from where we are. We are in Midlands, outskirts of Northampton, so it's not
okay.
Too
right. No, nice. Okay, I thought maybe you were even more south based than that, but no.
Okay, no. We'll have it in mind. So, like future events, I will give you a lead, and hopefully we can meet soon.
Definitely, yeah. I'd like that. Yeah, I was disappointed I didn't get to go to the last one, but I think it ended up being on a bank holiday, and I think I already had something arranged. So
yeah. Next time.
It was great having you here today. Great chat.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks, Maggie. Love you both.
All right. Thank you. Take care, guys.